Hello aspirants, looking at editorials in Question Bank for 8th November 2016. The first editorial in the Hindu newspaper today is Chasing a Grand Alliance. Now this is regarding Uttar Pradesh and an alliance being set against BJP by Samajwadi Party. Even BSP Samajwadi Party are not coming to a consensus. So we'll have to wait and watch what happens in UP elections. But presently this political aspect is not of significance for us. The BJP did not fare well in UP in the former elections, in previous two elections in 2007 and 2012, which says that voters gave clear majority to one political party. In 2007 it was BSP, Bahujan Samaj Party, and in 2012 Samajwadi Party. They got clear majority and both the major national political parties, Congress and BJP, could not fare well. But then we see that in 2014 Lok Sabha elections, BJP has done quite well in Uttar Pradesh. So we'll have to wait and watch what happens in the next legislative elections in UP in 2017. Then the next editorial is of importance. This is regarding the Delhi's pollution crisis. So this editorial will discuss along with the question bank, because we have even formulated question bank based on the same idea of Delhi pollution. So this has been in news quite often, and presently there is a perspective article too on this issue. The lead article today is based on the issue which we have already discussed in question bank in 7th November, that is the NDTV India channel ban. So that has been covered. It is including the points which have come in today's lead article. So since the editorial question bank was delayed, it was a complete combined coverage done there. So for today there is one question which we have picked up from the question bank, and this is based on Delhi pollution, and the other question is on food security. So there are two questions from 8th November. This first question is, discuss the major provisions under the National Food Security Act of 2013. What measures are required to further strengthen the implementation of National Food Security Act? So this National Food Security Act of 2013, which was a flagship program of former UPA government, they also had an ordinance which is brought forth. Ordinance is something which is brought forth before the act can be implemented, because act can come only from the legislature, but an ordinance is the same effect as an act but comes from the executive. So it is a president who promulgates an ordinance. So if you read polity, you will understand this. So an ordinance was also initiated by the former UPA government. Now that was just before the government terms was getting over. So there was no way that it could have passed through the parliament. So they had initiated an ordinance too. So now National Food Security Act is in place. So this Act of 2013 is set to benefit a huge section of the population. So as you can see here, it's provided the major provisions of the National Food Security Act. It will provide 5 kgs of food grains per person per month to every priority household. So priority households actually comprise 75% of rural population and 50% of the urban population. So the coverage is very high. And even to the poorest of the poor households, that is called Antyodaya household, it will provide 35 kg food grains per household per month. And these food grains would be provided at a highly subsidized rate. They would be providing rice, wheat and coarse cereals. They would be provided at the rates rupees 3, 2 and 1 respectively. So this is the PDS, Public Distribution System rate for these food grains under the National Food Security Act. So presently almost all states have accepted it, though complete implementation has not been successful in all states, but they are all proceeding on those lines. So the question we are discussing is major provisions and to further strengthen. So these are the major provisions. Other aspects which have to be highlighted is, one aspect is including coarse cereal. So that means adequate protein intake is also ensured by this. So one aspect is food security and another aspect is nutrition security. So food security is adequate energy based constituents like food grains are provided, but nutrition means adequate nutrients, vitamins, minerals, proteins are all provided in adequate quantity. So to some extent it has been taken care of here. Of course it needs to be further enhanced to ensure other commodities are also included, so complete nutrition security can be provided. Other provisions under the act are free daily meals for children, so which is already done presently under midday meal scheme. So it has also been incorporated under the act. Maternity benefits to the pregnant women. There are cash transfers done to pregnant women to ensure that they eat healthy so that a healthy baby is born, and then the burden health related burden on the exchequer and even for the family is reduced. So this aspect is also taken care of. To combat rampant undernutrition, that is, undernutrition is basically due to calorie deficiency, that sufficient amount of calories are taken in. Malnutrition, which means protein deficiency, that nutrients, proteins are not provided in adequate quantity. So all these also have to be combated. So that can be taken place if women and children are taken care of, especially pregnant women. So these are the initiatives. So ICDS, Integrated Child Development Program, actually takes care of women, pregnant women and children too. So that aspect has also been incorporated under the Food Security Act also. So implementation, as you see, it was supposed to be implemented by 2016, July 2016, but full implementation has so far taken place in only 5 states. Other states have also partially implemented it and the results have been fruitful. So you can see the positive results which have been come through the NFSA implementation. So positive outcomes seen are here discussed. Administrative reforms have taken place. A significant number of households have ration cards now because so much of commodity is provided by the government assured through an act, parliamentary act passed. So then many households have also taken ration cards. There's improvement in the distribution and consumption of food through fair price shops. So fair price shops are PDS shops, public distribution shops. So all this is also seen. So the provisions which need to be implemented further to enhance the NFSA, one is, it says, this article said that private procurement and storage systems have to be abolished so that government procurement takes place and there is proper track monitoring of all procurements and distribution of grains done so that the PDS systems stay under check. So this is one suggestion. Another suggestion can also be privatization, but this article talks against it because this aspect, public procurement, has been shown positive results in Odisha, where a study had been made by the group. Then the next point put forth is that distribution of food should take place through self-help groups because generally it is seen that corruption prevails in PDS. So if self-help groups take up this initiative, if regular monitoring is done by Gram Panchayats, so Gram Panchayats take up this initiative, so corruption level here can reduce. So that is an this suggestion given. Then another is digitization of ration cards. So if technology used and digitization takes place, computerization of all the data related to offtake of food grains and distribution of food grains will minimize corruption. So these are the aspects. Effective monitoring of fair price shops, of course, required. Then another is increase in coverage. So all, because if this aspect has been covered, rice, wheat and coarse cereals, other commodities like pulses, onion, potato can also be included. Even the beneficiaries themselves say that we want more commodities through the fair price shops or the PDS. Another point which the beneficiaries have put forth in this study in Odisha, which the group conducted, it says that they do not want cash transfer. They want subsidized grains and they don't want direct benefit transfer of cash or cash transfer here, because then it will become very difficult to acquire food grains because they have to have the bear the fluctuations in the market prices. That would be one aspect. Another aspect would be that to avail this cash, they have to travel long distances, which may become cumbersome for them. So all these aspects, it's better that the food grains are provided through PDS and a direct cash transfer does not take place. So this is another point which has been highlighted. So here is the image given to about the procurement being done. This is a study in Odisha only. So how has it been done and how undernutrition and malnutrition is present in the states, and it still prevails. So Antyodaya Ann Yojana, that is the AAY households, means the poorest of the poor households, the level of malnutrition you see is high. So that is shown. Malnutrition, undernutrition, both. We discussed undernutrition and malnutrition above. Undernutrition is less calorie intake, malnutrition is less of protein intake, protein deficiency. Then the next question which we have put is about Delhi. The question is, Delhi is crippling under pollution crisis. What short-term and long-term measures need to be taken to overcome this crisis? So Delhi's pollution levels have been high, and especially they stay high during the post-monsoon season because of the weather conditions when smog prevails. So that is the reason here, and the challenges which are being faced and the government's initiatives. Two points which we have been hearing about is, one is regarding the crop residue burning which takes place in neighboring states, which results in pollution in Delhi. So So even the Union Environment Minister has put forth his view that that contributes to only 20% of the pollution in Delhi, which has been also shown with evidence by various organizations, scientific organizations too. So that is a significant proportion, but that is only 20%. Remaining 80% is due to also the urbanization and industries which are there in Delhi. So short term and long term measures both are required to tackle this. So both aspects need to be highlighted. So steps that need to be taken which can be discussed. One is, first, there should be a comprehensive policy across all sectors like transport, energy, waste, transboundary issues, which can be used to adequately monitor air quality. There should be sophisticated tools used for air quality modeling and economic analysis of all these data, so that a proper policy can be formulated, both short term and long term. There is a need to enhance the capacity of Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Board. Also, evidences have come forth that they do not have adequate manpower, technical expertise to regulate and control pollution. So that is another aspect which should be paid attention to. Third is, of course, about the crop burning. So this residue burning, even the agriculture scientist MS Swaminathan has said that it is not the fault of the farmers that they undertake crop burning, residue burning, but it is because they do not have adequate technology and assistance given to them that this waste can also be beneficially used as a compost or in some other source, that they indulge in this, because this is the most efficient and cheapest and quickest way for them. So if government support comes forth here, this issue can also be tackled. So this has to be highlighted. Next is using technological innovative solutions. So pollution from industries, so clean energy technologies need to be used. So industrial cluster in Delhi and National Capital Territory and adjoining regions like Faridabad, Ghaziabad result in huge pollution. So industries also have to take responsibility, and using clean technology has to be mandated. Then the next is regarding the construction activities to brick kilns which are there. So they generate smoke that results in pollution. So here also modernization program needs to be put forth so that this pollution is minimized. Then paving roads in such a way that they have zero dust, that remain dust free, and also that the garbage is efficiently collected by the civic agencies has to be ensured. So that is another short term measure too as well. Then burning of waste, which generally poor indulge in during the winter season because they do not have adequate resources to keep themselves heated. So that is the cheapest way in which they can keep themselves warm. So such aspects have to be banned, but instead of that there should be adequate facilities made for these poor too. So that a step needs to be taken. Of course, the transport sector can be significantly enhanced in Delhi. Buses which run on electric buses can also be brought in Delhi, so that pollution from buses, the public transport system, can be reduced significantly. Also, it talks of having smart apps. So this is a suggestion which can be implemented in all countries and all states all over India too, because a smart app will give you a clear idea of where the bus location, public transport bus is presently, and when will it reach, so that it results in efficiency and lesser waiting time for passengers of these public transport system, and they also be availed adequately. So can be funded using even parking fees. Says that private vehicles can be made to pay high parking fees, and this funding can also be used for developing such smart apps too. For electric vehicles too, it talks of funding being generated so that these cleaner technologies, smarter technologies can be put into effect so that pollution in Delhi is minimized. So that is it for today. Thank you.